The four of us snatched our choice of salty, crunchy snacks from the pantry and planted ourselves on the concrete pad outside the garage. I felt like a moribund dog just before being put down. Davon disguised his usual sad boy persona with verbal attacks pointed at the American educational system, prematurely claiming that college wouldn't be any different. And Danny, for Christ's sake, her splotchy cheeks and glossy eyes told me that she had cried on the ride over to my house. I take it that the transition would be hardest on her, with all of her friends moving at least an hour out in every cardinal direction. And Meg, she reassured me with her normal composure. Probably had to keep herself so focused on the road so that she wouldn't let a giggle slip at Danny's display of tears. She's an uncomfortable laugher. I'd put money on her snickering at my funeral. I caught them all up on the shit that had gone down over the summer. Work at the call center. The guy I almost talked myself into liking. Debating dyeing my hair again. Mundane things. As the hour hand crept beyond 12 and past several single digits, our cluster turned into a confessional booth. My three best friends into three robed priests, and I into a more nervous version of myself with metaphorical sin spewing from my trembling lips. I revealed all of my hanging apprehension like it was a secret to begin with. Simply nodding, they suppressed their own fear to avoid scaring me more. Even if they did, it wouldn't have changed anything. I was the first to go. A guinea pig. Basically guaranteed another 30 pounds of emotional baggage to be stuffed in the back of my 2003 Ford Explorer. When I casually mentioned that I had to be up in 4 hours for move-in day, all jaws dropped and Meg scolded me with a disapproving scoff and a slap to my bare calf. God, go to bed, Davon muttered, peeling himself off the cool pavement and rolling his head from shoulder to shoulder. We lingered in silence for a moment before he spoke again. You know, it's only 2 weeks. We've gone 2 weeks without seeing each other, but it's not like we knew it would be that long before we'd see each other again. His remark only prolonged the quiet. Davon became the permanent plus one to our not-so-holy trinity after a series of post-graduation party slushies that summer. I quickly estimated how many 2-week periods I'd had with him in the past few months and wondered if that was enough time to keep the friendship as sturdy as the ones I have with the other two. My mind shifted to the adage that the depth of a friendship does not depend on the length of the acquaintance. But it certainly didn't hurt that Meg and I had just passed our 10-year friendiversary. 2 weeks. Surely then everything will feel close to normal. Every intrusive thought of loneliness on days 1 to 13 were dismissed with variations of give it time from quite possibly everyone. The ample free time we had before the start of classes that was supposed to be used for getting acclimated only gave way to digging myself into a deeper, isolating hole. The first weekend back for an extended family dinner, my aunt raised her gravelly voice over a table of loud conversation to ask if I was making lots of friends. I have a few. More like one pretty good one. My roommate, who I had already known prior to college, and a few decent people in classes. I shrugged. I don't really have a group or anything yet. Surprise washed over her face. Huh? Really? Not even with band? She poked, probably hopeful that I'd remembered I'd befriended at least some of its 250 members. I opened my mouth to respond, but forced it into an awkward, closed-mouth smile. I mean, not exactly. I don't really know, I chuckled, halting the conversation by taking an oversized forkful of chicken Ronaldo into my mouth. I resorted to checking in on my Snapchat that was littered with stories of friends spending their weekends on campus, sipping Mike's Hards on up, singing about how they got loyalty, got royalty inside their DNA, having what seemed like the time of their lives alongside people they've known for practically 2 minutes. Where was all of this action, and why couldn't someone let me in on its clever hiding spot? When I was at school, the only place I wanted to be was home. Returning to my comfort zone only filled me with guilt. Like I wasn't trying hard enough. Like there was something wrong with me. I tried to blame it on my dependency on making the trip home every weekend my schedule would allow. Of course that was what it was. I wasn't immersing myself in college culture nearly enough. But as the weeks went on, I was regularly invited out on unoccupied nights, politely declining with some bullshit excuse and turning in by 10:30. I slept a lot more then. More hours each night than I had gotten in years. Lengthy naps too. It helped to pass the time I wasn't sure to spend doing what I wanted or felt obligated to do. On September 30th, my mom asked me if I was depressed. As soon as the words resonated with me, she struggled to take them back, offering several forced explanations for why my temperament had taken an uncharacteristic dip. I tuned her out for the rest of the call and reiterated the words until I believed them. The thought that I was alone seemed so ridiculous that I aggressively denied it. Friends called me almost daily, and if not them, my mom. Hell, my dorm was located in the heart of campus that managed to squeeze 30,000 plus people. I came across a new face daily. But for some reason, the thought that even just one person in size 9 shoes felt the way I did never occurred to me. There was no way I'd let myself go through the seemingly inevitable emo phase I lucked out of in middle school, tagging Instagram posts with captions insinuating that I was dramatically drowning in a sea of people. No. Instead, I kept up the facade, or kept quiet. Of my two options, I usually stuck with the latter. My normally busy Instagram profile remained stagnant for nearly 2 months. The worst part is that doing so left me feeling utterly insignificant, like I dropped off the face of the earth, but no one seemed to blink an eye. It didn't stop me from scrolling down my freshly updated feed every hour, trying to be happy for everyone that already clearly was. I can't say that any sort of shift was caused by anything I can pinpoint. It's not clickbait material. Maybe this isn't even a story worth reading, but it's enough for me to tell. Just like it came, it went. Well, for the most part. In no way did I adopt any baby boomer or Generation X catchphrases, but for starters, I put down my damn phone whenever I could. I caught myself before I could continue pouring so much of my attention into other people's business that I neglected my own. Doing this also reduced a good chunk of the comparison that ate away at my perfectly good headspace. And the people. I tried to make peace with the fact that they may not have been a Megan, or Davon, or Danielle, but someday they'd become a new standard of personhood to match up to. What sticks out is my dad telling me that the first semester was ultimately going to be the hardest. I cursed the fact that I had to stick it out to find out if he was really right. But soon enough, my tally of good days began to outnumber the bad. I found strength in my routine, relaxation in my free time, serenity with my literal loneliness. Objectively, absolutely nothing was wrong to begin with. But my circumstances bound me to contrive an idea of what college should be, much more enjoyable than it is at times. Don't get me wrong, it truly is enjoyable, even in the hardest semester. I just consider it more of an acquired taste.